Karibuni tena wanafunzi, karibuni sana, na hichi ni kipindi cha 4 kwenye states of matter. Tunaendelea kudiscuss kuhusu gaseous laws. Usisahau kusubscribe, kushare hii video pamoja na kulike kwa ajili ya vipindi pia vya advanced biology, advanced physics pamoja na advanced chemistry. Utatakiwa pia kusubscribe ili uweze kupata more updates. Share kwa marafiki zako ili muweze kuendelea kusoma physical chemistry free kabisa. Now, the combined gas law, or sometimes it is called as Amoton's law. Most of people, they don't know this name, Amoton's law. They don't know this name, Amoton's. Na hii law wengi wanaijua lakini hawajui kuwa inaitwa Amoton's law. Kwa wakiambiwa state Amoton's law, wanabakia wanatoa macho kwa sababu gani? They don't know what is. Sometimes it is called combined gas law or Amoton's law. Now, the combined gas law is found by combining the two gas laws, and most commonly is Boyer's and Charles, which we have already studied in the previous session. So, Boyer's law and Charles law can be combined into a single relationship called the combined gas law or Amoton's law. If you remember in our Boyer's law, if you remember, volume was inversely proportional to pressure if temperature and number of moles were constant. And if you remember our Charles law, we said volume is directly proportional to temperature if pressure and number of moles are constants. Now, keeping the number of moles constant, combining these two gas laws, volume will be directly proportional to temperature and inversely proportional to pressure. Kwa tumecombine relation kati ya volume na pressure and relation kati ya volume na temperature. Volume itakuwa direct proportional to temperature, which is Charles, and inversely proportional to pressure, which is Boyer's. Here the number of moles will be constant. So this is what we call as the Amoton's law. So the combined gas law states that for a fixed mass of a gas, the volume is directly proportional to Kelvin temperature and inversely proportional to its pressure. Kelvin temperature, sometimes you can say absolute temperature, no problem. That's the same terminology. Or sometimes you can state it as the volume of a fixed mass of a gas is directly proportional to the absolute temperature and inversely proportional to its pressure. So mathematically, volume of a fixed mass of a gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature and inversely proportional to pressure, keeping number of moles constant. When the mass is constant, then the number of moles will be constant. Removing the proportionality sign, volume will be equal to constant K, then temperature divided by pressure. So volume times pressure divided by temperature T is equal to constant K. Volume 1, pressure 1 divided by temperature 1 is equal to volume 2, pressure 2 divided by temperature 2, which is equal to constant K. And here we will end up with V1, P1 divided by T1 is equal to V2, P2 divided by T2. And this is the general expression for the Amoton's law. V1, P1 divided by T1 is equal to V2, P2 divided by T2. Kwa kama ambavyo unaweza kuona hicho kitu hapo kwamba V will be equal to K, T divided by P. This K is constant, and then we will end up with the expression like this is how I have explained earlier. And from there, let's jump to the pressure's law. Sometimes this is called Guy-Lussac's law. So usishangae ukiambiwa state pressure's law, ukiambiwa state Guy-Lussac's law ni kitu kile kile. In 1802, Joseph Guy-Lussac, as a result of his experiment, established a general relation between the pressure and temperature of a gas. So this talks about pressure and temperature. Guy-Lussac talks about pressure and temperature. So this is known as Guy-Lussac's law or pressure temperature law. Guy-Lussac's law or pressure temperature law. Sometimes they call it as pressure law, pressure temperature law, or pressure's law, pressure temperature law, or Gay-Lussac's law. But the commonly used name is Gay-Lussac's law. So the law states that the pressure of a fixed mass of a gas is at constant volume is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. Pressure of a fixed mass of a gas is directly proportional to temperature at constant volume and the number of moles constant. So removing the proportionality sign, pressure will be equal to Kt. P divided by T will be equal to constant K. Then P1 divided by T1 is equal to P2 divided by T2 is equal to K. P1 divided by T1 is equal to P2 divided by K2. And this is the Gay-Lussac's law. Gay-Lussac's law. Hivyo ndivyo ambavyo Gay-Lussac's law huwa inakuwepo, na ndivyo ambavyo unaweza kaona relationship kati ya pressure na temperature. Note pressure and temperature law hold true if and only if the volume and the number of moles of the gas are constant. This law is simply known as pressure's law. Another gas law is known as general gas equation. This is generally not the gas law, but is just the derivation which is derived and is used in calculation. The general gas equation. How do we get the general gas equation? We are combining the three gas laws. For example, as we know that we are combining the two gas laws as what we did in the Amoton's law. Volume is directly proportional to temperature, which is charge, and volume is inversely to pressure, which is Boyle's law. As how we did in Amoton's law, volume will be directly proportional to temperature and inversely proportional to pressure. So we'll end up with V is equal to constant KTP. Removing the proportion, here we have removed the proportionality sign, we get this equation. Then Vp divided by T is equal to K. V1 P1 divided by T1 is equal to V2 P2 divided by T2. So V1 P1 divided by T1 is equal to V2 P2 divided by T2. Then what we are saying here is that this is the expression known as the general gas equation. And simply this is how we derive the general gas equation. Simply this is how we derive the general gas equation. Let's end up here, and in the next session we'll have the first solve the examples session in our states of matter series of period. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to share the link to your fellows so that they study the physical chemistry field, and tell them to subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thank you.